Hello, good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Hello, Yasmina. Hey.
So can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. We are live now.
We are live in Facebook and YouTube.
YouTube, sir.
Yeah. Oh God. So, Professor Pirak is asking for his Zoom. Professor Pirag is asking for the Zoom link. Why is it so? Because it has already.
I need just a Zoom link, not the registration link.
No, sir. It must have come to your. It must have come to your account, sir. Email ID.
I've sent it to the WhatsApp also now.
Okay. Sujit is sending to your WhatsApp, sir. WhatsApp. The link he's sending to your WhatsApp, sir.
Okay.
Sujit, can you send the link to sir?
Yes, sir. I've already sent.
It's
India.
Sir, did you receive the link?
I received a passport.
Yes. Yeah.
Sujit.
Good morning.
Morning, everybody.
Hello, Yasmina. Hey.
So can you hear us?
Namaste, one and all. Just waiting for 2 minutes for one of our guests to join, and we'll be starting shortly. Thank you all for being here today with us.
എൻ്റെ പേരാ കൃഷ്ണകുമാർ. എവിടുന്ന് പേരേ ഉള്ളൂ.
We can start with the proceedings.
Yes.
Sir will join you.
So, namaste to one and all. Today is a very auspicious day, that is Dhanvantri Jayanti, which has been celebrated as the National Ayurveda Day since few years. And this year, November 13, 2020, Ayurveda Day, the Ministry of Ayush has actually given the theme Ayurveda in 2030. And today, AVP Research Foundation, along with the Indian Foundation is actually hosting this program, and we are especially focusing on a symposium on Ayurveda and COVID-19, a topic which is very relevant in today's times. We are also hosting this event in association with the University of Latvia, Turkey, Sweden, Slovenia, and Luxembourg. These are the few
Sir has
of
joined.
the. Yes, sir. Hello, sir. We all welcome our guest for the day, Dr. Firax. So, before we start his session, a brief introduction. Professor and Dr. Valdis Pirax. He's a professor of internal medicine and heads the Department of Internal Medicine at the University of Latvia. He is also the chairman of Latvian Association of Endocrinologists and council member of the European Association for Diabetes Research. We are in fact fortunate enough to be associated with him, and we are so blessed to have people like blessed to be associated with people like Dr. Pirax, who are so supportive of Ayurveda and the integrative medicine. So we welcome Sir for the first topic chosen for today, and that is Ayurveda in 2030. How is it viewed? We welcome you, sir.
Yes, namaste to everybody. Do you hear me good? Well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm really very glad to be among you. And my speech today I devote to the homage to Krishnakumar ji, who was a guru to me for more than 5 years. And actually, I want to remember in my speech all those discussions with him we spent over those years on the vision of how Ayurveda should develop in the world, especially in the western part of the world. So therefore, I will concentrate on the vision of Ayurveda in 2030, which is in 10 years. But my true belief is that those 10 years will be really decisive for the progress of Ayurveda worldwide. And not only in the Western world, but also in India. I will concentrate on it as well. In our discussions with Krishnakumar ji, we developed so-called three-tier model, how really to achieve the major goals of Ayurveda. And those three tiers, sometimes I call them tiers, because it may be looked from different angles. Either it's a three-level system or three-tier system, which is concentrated on one in other. And really the main point of this three-tier system is that the modern Ayurveda education should be in place. And the modern Ayurveda education is something which is not so simple to understand, because in most of cases, especially in Western world, Ayurveda is something which is more considered as a part of the folk medicine or herbal medicine. But in fact, it's a totally independent, sovereign part of medical education. Of course, related to other fields of complementary and alternative medicines. But the way how Ayurveda has been structured over hundreds and hundreds of years actually gives Ayurveda a certain level of maturity to be not just something alternative or complementary, but to be the core of the modern medical education system. And the people in the whole world, especially the propagators of modern Ayurveda, should really recognize it and repeat that it's not just something ancient, 5,000 years old, etc., which is true, but really stress that modern Ayurveda has a potential to be the solution for many problems of healthcare systems in the whole world, which are suffering currently from, I think, from unnecessary increases in expense, and of course many medications are really very effective, including the current antiretrovirals like remdesivir for treatment of COVID-19 epidemics, and we are close to the developing and implementing of COVID-19 vaccines. But on the other hand, this current COVID-19 crisis is, I think, part of the crisis in also modern healthcare, when healthcare became not affordable for many people. And of course, the business is, the industry is the driving force for modern medicine, but there should be always an equilibrium between those very advanced methods of modern medicine and affordability and also not only affordability but also acceptance of people in the world of medicine. So therefore, properly structured education in modern Ayurveda is the grounding stone of the progress to Ayurveda in 2030. And we at the University of Latvia currently developed this modern education system. And what we started with is the Ayurveda, basic Ayurveda course for medical practitioners. And when they finish their, when they complete their course, they are receiving a so-called method of certificate, which allows them to practice Ayurveda. But this is just one level. Another level should be for people without medical background, but very much interested in promoting of a healthy lifestyle according to Ayurveda. And Ayurveda has a great potential in prevention of disease, not just in cure of disease. And therefore, we need such a very broad, but well-grounded, well-structured, and evidence-based education for wide range of medical practitioners, which are just lifestyle practitioners. And but the third level is the most challenging. We call it advanced level of education, and it should be according to the benchmarks of the World Health Organization. And actually, in the Western world, it's close to understanding of the residentship in medicine. That means the student already has his diploma in medicine, but he can or she can specialize in Ayurveda. And currently, there is no country in Europe which has this residentship level of Ayurveda, and therefore we need much to do in those 10 years. But we cannot do anything meaningful without tight collaboration between universities and the Indian government. The Indian government should really give the framework how really, first of all, Ayurveda should be integrated as well as other Ayush systems in the Indian university system, which should not be standalone, in my opinion, as it is currently, but each and every medical doctor in India should know the principles of integrative medicine. Integrative medicine means not only so-called allopathic systems, but also systems which are more integrated and more oriented to the prevention of diseases. So this was the first tier. The second tier is equally important because we have to speak with modern scientists in the language of science. And this is also something Krishnakumar always stressed, that we should not try to convince somebody on our truth if they just don't understand or don't listen to the terms we are using, to the words we are using. So research is the second tier, and research should generate new clinical and molecular evidence for Ayurveda. And I'm very happy that we have so many good articles currently published, but unfortunately, not all of them, not all articles are on the proper level to be accepted by the researchers, the scientists worldwide. So Ayurveda should not be in the opposition to the modern science. This is one of the biggest mistakes when some more conservative, by the way, from both sides, I mean from modern medicine side or biomedicine side, or also Ayurveda side, if there is some clashes which are very easy and familiar for many competitive people, but it is leading to destruction, actually, not to collaboration and development. So how to really proceed in those next 10 years? My deep understanding is that we need properly designed studies, clinical studies, and those clinical studies should be always published in good medical journals. And I know that Krishnakumarji's vision was always there to publish, for example, in the Ancient Science of Life, the most advanced studies, but on the same time, we should not avoid also biomedicine journals, and we have very good examples how really to publish high-level Ayurveda science papers in the modern medicine journals, like Journal of Rheumatology. What kind of studies do we need? Studies could be on different kind, and I think the easiest target for the 10 years is proper registration of clinical cases and clinical histories, and this is so-called database research. And AVP Foundation has DARA database. I think this is really a very good example how to create and how to proceed in the next 10 years with proper registration of every single clinical case. And those databases also should be analyzed periodically. The dynamics of changes should be fixed and published and delivered for discussion in scientific meetings. However, without randomized clinical trials, it will be difficult to show that really those database cases are valuable and the treatment is comparable with treatment in other branches of medicine. So therefore, we need parallelly also those structured, well-designed clinical studies with comparative groups. And the privilege of Ayurveda is that those studies could be easily stratified, and stratification according to the patient subgroups is something progressive and should be really promoted in each study we are doing in Ayurveda should be stratified according to the subgroups, and this is very natural for Ayurveda. It's also called personalized medicine, but everybody who tried to design such a clinical trial now really challenging it is. And for that, we need a new standards, new benchmarks, not only in education, but also in clinical research. And if we look at the current situation in education, there is rather good progress, but I should not say, I will not say that equally big progress is in creating of benchmarks in Ayurveda research. So this remains one of the challenges for the next decade. Finally, regarding research, research should be done in all major fields of practice in Ayurveda, and I think the big mistake will be just to divide medicine in the fields according to the modern biochemical understanding, but it should be the classification of the pathologies in Ayurveda should be kept as a core of research. So we should always keep in mind that there are two parallel systems of disease or illness classification, and those systems are complementary, and it should be kept complementary. And last but not the least, we have to create a network of research partners worldwide, and it should be coordinated. The research should be coordinated. Ideally, it should be coordinated by the CCRS in the Ministry of Ayush, but in reality, I think we should develop also parallel systems of networking, and I know that how many supporters of proper research in Ayurveda are in all parts of the world, and if we concentrate on Europe, I think one of the challenges will be really to find and refine collaborative networks with open-minded, educated scientists. So, and in the last minutes of my talk, I will concentrate on the third tier, and it seems to be the most easy, but actually it's the most difficult, and I think the changes in that tier will be very slowly. And I'm speaking about the changes in legislation. And what is the problem currently? Currently, Ayurveda, as well as other fields of Ayush sciences, are not recognized as branches of medicine in European countries, and of course the situation can change, but I think the main problem probably lies not in India, but that in our countries in Europe, many people without proper education background or proper understanding of science of Ayurveda are trying to practice and to earn money in current environment, and that is creating, I think, a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of opposition from the established governmental institutions. So therefore, as I said, it will be not easy to change the healthcare legislation and incorporate modern Ayurveda, evidence-based Ayurveda as a part of healthcare system. In some countries like Switzerland, it was more easy because of the people democracy and referendums. But I tried to do my best in my home country, Latvia, and I also tightly following what is happening in Brussels at the European Commission, and really it will be not easy if we will just push through without evidence-based education and research. On the other hand, we have a lot of reliable partners. I mean, non-governmental organizations, and there's a lot of support and sympathies from different politicians and stakeholders, not excluding healthcare politicians, but somehow we have, in many cases, as I said, wrong partners in this, and some small medical business people which are just pushing through without proper understanding what it is. I think we have to really choose very carefully with whom we are working together. Ultimately, the indicator of our progress in till 2030 will be a simple fact. Will the Ayurveda practitioners properly educated with proper diplomas from India, recognized as medical professionals in Europe, in European Union countries? I think that is the simplest and most effective indicator. How are we progressing? And finally, to conclude, here in Latvia, we are ready really to establish this three-tier model, to develop it, to export it to other countries, and I think we will succeed, no doubt, and Ayurveda will be integrated as a part of modern evidence-based medicine, and not only in Europe, like in my country, but I think the major breakthrough will be integration of Ayurveda in Indian university system, in Indian healthcare system. And I'm happy that so many Indian politicians are understanding it currently, and it will take time, of course, but we will succeed. Thank you for your attention, and happy Ayurveda Day.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing so clearly and crisply the various areas in which we need to take ahead Ayurveda and especially the integrative system, and sharing your experiences with beloved Dr. Krishnakumar ji, and also how the journey has been so far and how we can take it forward in the future. Thank you so much, Dr. Pirax, for joining this event and actually inaugurating the session today. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Next, we have Dr. Somit Kumar, who is the Director and the Chief Scientific Officer of the AVP Research Foundation, who would be actually discussing on the topic Management of COVID-19 through Ayurveda. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Pooja. So today we wanted to keep our sessions very much also contextual to the pandemic, which we are all over the world is pestering us, and we all are fighting from our own perspective. So AVP Research Foundation, under the guidance of late Padma Shri Krishnakumar ji, way back in February, we started conceptualizing what can we do from an Ayurvedic perspective to respond to this emerging health issue. And under his guidance, we wrote a project to Ministry of Ayush, and then we got the grant, and we started doing an integrative therapy for COVID-19 in high-risk group at Stanley Medical College, Chennai. So today, we will not talk about the concept or what we can do, but we are going to share what we have done and what was the results. So first, I would like to thank the whole team, the frontline team who worked along with me to manage these patients in being away from their family. So I would like to name them, Dr. Chaitanya, Dr. Balagopal, Dr. Lakshmi, Dr. Tarkesh, and Dr. Mani. So they all worked as a team to cater to the patients in the wards, and they created an excellent team to allow this research to take its final shape as what today it is. So basically what we were trying to do in this study was to understand whether we can create some difference in patients with COVID where the disease is not self-limiting. What a disease means when we say it can be a self-limiting. We all know that almost 80% of the COVID cases are self-limiting, that people will recover on their own based on their state of immunity or their state of different factors of geography or the kind of immune response their body has. But then 20% roughly people, they get into this high risk group, they get severe, mild, moderate, severe form, and around 4% people also succumb to this disease. So our main aim of the study was to see a subset of this high risk group, specifically patients suffering from type 2 diabetes who are classified as per Indian ICMR guidelines as a high risk group. We wanted to study the efficacy of an add-on Ayurveda therapy. That means along with the existing allopathic management, but not in the Ayurveda group, we did not use any disease-modifying drugs like steroids or IL-6 modulator tocilizumab or even remdesivir. So we had two groups. One was purely on allopathic therapy with whatever management they wanted to give, they gave. The other group was only with antibiotic, azithromycin, with multivitamins along with Ayurveda. So these are the two cohorts or two group of patients which were parallelly seeing how they respond after 15 days of therapy. So in this, we were able to answer our major concerns that whether we are treating diseases which are not self-limiting. So yes, it's not self-limiting. Second, do we have a control? Do we have a comparator? Do we have a group where we can compare that whether our therapy after adding Ayurveda had a advantage or not? So we all know that the COVID is a has two stage or two phases. The first phase is called as viral phase, and then second phase is called post-inflammatory phase. Now, what is the difference? So, the moment somebody gets affected with COVID or infected with the COVID, the first 7 days, on an average, is a viral phase where virus actively replicates in the system with mild symptoms of fever, dry cough, diarrhea, headache, or in the blood parameters, you can see lymphocyte count going down and certain amount of blood markers like LDH or D dimer getting high. Then slowly, as the days go by, slowly we enter into a inflammatory phase. That means the virus starts replicating in your body, and because of the replication of the virus and the proteins which viral protein replicates in the cell, it creates a viral load. And since these virus proteins are external or foreign, your body treats it like an enemy. And then there is a response of your innate immune system or other immune host of immunological reaction, and that response is called as inflammatory response. And this is where what happens, you start developing certain symptoms like shortness of breath, uh, oxygen saturation being less, and then your chest CT, like, if you do a CT, computerized tomography of chest, you will see some kind of opacities and fluid collection. And then slowly this fluid collection becomes infective and then leads to certain complication like ARDS, cardiac failure, multiple organ failure, and all. And at this moment, you get a host of inflammatory response parameters like C-reactive creatine high, IL-6 high. Now, what we did in this study, so we tried to, as Dr. Pirax was explaining, we were trying to integrate. So we were trying to see that, as we know, that the second phase of the COVID is detrimental or very dangerous. That means if you are able to manage the first phase, viral response phase better, and do not allow your body to get into this host response of hyper-inflammatory cytokine storm, what we say inflammation to be high in the lungs, and does not allow viral pneumonia to set in. That means pneumonia, we can reduce the pneumonia, which is a host inflammatory response. We can improve the outcome. So we were trying to study this factor. So when the virus goes in, starts creating this cytokine storm, and one of the important cytokine, what we generally see and monitor in COVID patients regularly, is called as IL-6, because this IL-6 is a response of your body against the viral protein. So when the virus enters your lungs into the air bags, they starts replicating, and this neutrophil gets activated, turns into macrophages, and start eating up or destroying this viral protein with the cells. But while it is attacking, it secretes this IL-6. So if the IL-6 parameters are controlled during the early phase of coronavirus infection, what you will achieve is less edema in the lungs. That means because of this fight between your virus and your macrophages, because of IL-6 aggravation, lot of fluid-rich uh, edema develops in the alveoli. As a result, when there is more fluid filled in the alveoli, your oxygen diffusion does not take place. That means the oxygen from your lungs does not reach your blood capillaries, and that's why you are not able to see oxygen saturation in your blood. That means you feel breathlessness, less oxygen in blood, and slowly you get into a shock. Now, if you can modulate this storm, you can reduce the impact of this viral pneumonia. So what we need to see, as it is open without any uh, edema or water collection in the alveoli, if you can maintain this status as much as possible, it is good. So this is where we were trying to understand through our Ayurveda therapy, can we do that? Now, this is the chronology as properly documented that first 7 days, patients are extremely asymptomatic or less symptomatic. And by the seventh day, they get feeling this all the symptoms of breathlessness, dyspnea, and acute, and then they get into hospital. And by 11th day to 16th day, they are in a intensive care unit. So first 7 days is very important. Now, why type 2 diabetes? Because it is well documented that the rate of people getting into ICU. So if you are a diabetic patient, you have a higher rate or higher chance of getting into an ICU or a severe form of COVID. So that's why we were taking a high risk group. Now, along with diabetes, there are other risks which we also saw at hypertension, cardiac conditions, or COPD, or some other disorders which poses you for a higher risk. So, in our study, we basically took patients with type 2 diabetes, all of them with almost 50% people were also hypertensive. So, we took patients with from age from 18 to 75 years, confirmed with COVID virus with RT-PCR method only. They were diabetic, but at the baseline, that means when we started therapy, their oxygen saturation was means they didn't had a level of pneumonia which was obstructing the oxygen transportation. So they were still, their blood shows 94% oxygen saturation. Less than that at the baseline, no. But yes, during course of disease, when it progresses up, during therapy, it can reduce, but we have to take measures whatever we want. We have even given oxygen along with our therapy and all. But at the baseline, when you start, it should not be less than 94. And there were certain exclusion criteria. Now, why these exclusion criteria? First of all, there are many diseases in which this IL-6 can be also high. So we wanted to take only those patients who had raised IL-6 activity at the baseline due to COVID, not because of other diseases like malignancy, pulmonary diseases, other COPD, or cardiovascular event recently, renal diseases, or neuropathy, or type 1 diabetes, or stroke patients. And also, the people in Ayurveda group were not only those people who were not given steroid remdesivir or tocilizumab, which is IL-6 modulator, were taken. Now, on the whole, 54 people completed the study, including both the group, 28 people in the Ayurveda group plus allopathy, and 26 in the allopathy only. And on an average, as I told you, average age was 54 years and 55 years in both the group. Now, what we are looking at is we are not taking very young patients. They are mid-age, they are diabetic. So these all add to the risk profile of the patient. So we took, and if you see their baseline sugar control, it was quite high. HbA1c, which is an average of 3 months sugar, was from 10.2 for Ayurveda group and 9.4 for allopathic group. So almost similar kind of people with diabetic level or uncontrolled diabetes was taken. Then, what were the major symptoms which we were looking at? So we found out in both the groups almost 50 to 60% people had fever at the time of starting our therapy. Though some people had previous history, but around 60% people had fever at the time of our study. And then another important symptom was cough, then shortness of breath, sore throat, general weakness and headache. So we found out a lot of people with neurological symptoms of headache and general weakness, and also gastrointestinal. So a lot of people have been talking about coronavirus of the digestive system, so nausea and diarrhea. We found. So we gave a customized therapy as we were talking about. See, Ayurveda is a very individualized system of medicine where we cannot give the same medicine to everybody. So what we did was, of course, one combination was quite broad spectrum, like how you have broad spectrum antibiotic. So we had a multi-herbal formulation called Bharangyadi Kashayam, which had herbs like endographis, which is also available in Europe, and then you have dry ginger. You have also Inula, Inula racemosa is there. In Europe also you find Inula. In fact, in Europe you find it. And then we had one herb we don't find in Europe, that is Guruchi or Tinospora cardifolia. And then there are other herbs, that is 10 specific herbs called as Dashmula, which is very good for edema, was used in combination with these herbs now. So we make this decoction and give to patients with a different phenotype or clinical phenotype in permutation and combination. So almost we found out on an average 14 different combinations were used in the permutation and combination. Now what happened? So as I was telling you that if in the first 7 days when they come to hospital with the symptom of shortness of breath or hypoxia, where your oxygen saturation is less, all this happen after 7th day. So what happens many a times, we become very careless or callous. We start with 1 or 2 days of fever, and then we take a paracetamol or we take some antibiotic, and we feel that by 4 or 5 days fever is over, then the COVID is over. No, the real story develops only after 7th day. Now why? Because till 7th day, this IL-6 or inflammatory cytokine storm is just building up in your lungs. So it is silent. All of a sudden, 7th to 8th day, you will see the problem happening. So if we are able to reduce this silent buildup of this cytokine storm, we can be able to reduce the severity of the disease. And this is what we were doing by monitoring their IL-6 parameter at the baseline and at the 7th day and at the 15th day in both the groups. And you will see very strikingly that in Ayurveda add-on group, we had significantly lowered the IL-6 activity, better than the people who were only on allopathy, may it be their remdesivir, steroid, or azithromycin, or any other intervention. So when you added Ayurveda, you could do an early modulation of the inflammatory storm. Now, is it also seen? Now, as I told you, this IL-6 is basically secreted from neutrophils. Now, because more the viral protein, more the neutrophil count will increase. And that's why if you see in many COVID patients, if you see their blood, the neutrophil count is high and lymphocyte count is low. So we say NLR ratio. Now, if IL-6 is reducing, is it because of a herbal combination, or because of an antibiotic, or because of a steroid? Now, in this case, where in Ayurveda group, it was not a steroid, definitely. It was not an antibiotic only, because antibiotic was also there in allopathic group. Allopathic group also had steroids. But for steroids and other to reduce this IL-6, it took 15 days. Means when they get into the hospital with hypoxia, it's already late. Generally, they get admitted with all these uh, complications around between 8th to 10th day. So it was too late for you to modulate IL-6. But when you add Ayurveda along with conventional medicine, you have higher chances to control these complications within 7 days. Now, this was also proven by modulating the neutrophil count. That means this response of your immune system by neutrophil count got modulated by Ayurveda therapy, but remained very flattened in the only allopathic. Now, other important proof was lymphocyte. Generally, your lymphocyte suppression happens, lymphopenia happens in COVID. But when with Ayurveda medicine, lymphocyte count increases. Now, why this is very important? Because lymphocyte also helps in phagocytosis. Now, how do we know really phagocytosis is happening? Now, if you look at, there is another parameter called as C-reactive protein. Now, C-reactive protein is generally a inflammatory marker. And in general autoimmune disease, if where also IL-6 is increased, if the IL-6 reduces, C-reactive protein also tends to reduce. But it does not happen in bacterial and viral disease. So there are a lot of researches already done in the public domain, which is there, which says that when you have an active phagocytosis of the virus or bacteria, that means when your own immune cells starts eating this bacteria and virus, the C-reactive protein should be little higher always. Why? Because it aids the process of that immune response. So there is a lot of studies done where C-reactive protein mediated phagocytosis is already uh, observed. That means if it stays longer for some time, it shows that there is active fight between your immune system as well as the viral protein or bacterial protein or any toxins which are there in your system. So, if you look at Ayurveda group, the C-reactive protein does not reduce all of a sudden within 7 days. That means IL-6 it reduces. That means your hyperinflammatory response improves, that you have less chance of getting a viral pneumonia. Second thing is also it aids the process of phagocytosis so that the viral clearance can be early. So now, did it improve the viral clearance? So if you look at that, when we added Ayurveda, between 10th day to 14th day, 15% of people, more people were becoming virus negative. That means 60% people became virus negative within 10th to 14th day, but in only allopathic group, 45% only. So there is a difference of 15%, both on the between 10th to 14th day and also more than 14th day. So on an average, we find out that there is an early viral clearance happening. Similarly, is the response to all other inflammatory markers, because as it improved, in fact, the efficacy of an add-on therapy was better than the other therapy, whether it is D-dimer, LDH, prothrombin type. Then the next question comes on safety. Is it safe to combine Ayurveda medicines with the allopathic medicine? What we found out, the kidney function test absolutely perfect. There was no toxicity, rather it was on a downward trend. Similarly, urea response on the downward trend, that means improving or not creating any toxicity. Apart from that, SGOT, liver function also kept on improving in the Ayurveda group, whereas in allopathic group with PK, it was very static. Similarly, SGP response, ALP response, and sugar response were also comparable. So, what we got an insight from this particular study, which we did complete on 7th of September, the data tends to reflect that Ayurveda add-on therapy can help in modulating the host response. That means you can reduce the severity of the disease by adding this therapy along with the existing therapy, whatever may be. It may be supportive, it may be anything. At least in our study, we used only antibiotic and multivitamin pills. Then integrative therapy seems to show early viral clearance. And then also integrative therapy modulates the neutrophil response better and lymphocytic activity better than the only allopathic group. And then the last, what we come to understand is also that there was no evident toxicity in terms of liver or kidney function when we used both the therapies together. So this is what we wanted to share, our very humble and very basic initiative which we took in order to study the efficacy of Ayurvedic intervention in the COVID condition. And I think we would also like to state that this project was supported by Government of India, Ayush, as well as by the inspiration and leadership of Krishnakumar ji. And we, in his fond memory, we would like to dedicate this work. And I'm very thankful for all the participants who took their time out for this whole event to join. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with all of us and the participants out here the possibilities and the effectiveness of integrative medicine and Ayurveda in COVID-19. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Sujit Eranathe, Assistant Director and Scientist, AVP Research Foundation. He would be discussing on the topic Understanding of COVID-19 through Structure of Virus and its Physiology. So I welcome him.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Okay. Thank you, sir. This presentation, this is something wherein we are trying to understand COVID-19, the disease as such, by understanding the structure of virus and its physiology, because to compact something which is coming against us, we should really know what is coming against us. An enemy well known as something which we can actually deal with. So we'll try to understand the enemy better, so that either we can fight it out or live with it. Live with it is something which I would take it from Ayurveda. Ayurveda also believe in living with it too, is what I understand. So, understanding of COVID-19 through its structure. We'll go to the slides now. To just understand the history of coronaviruses, it is of zoonotic origin. That means it comes from animals. The first transmission to humans is from animals, and then after animals, it gets to human, and human to human transmission becomes possible. That is when it becomes a pandemic, or do you want to do something? Is it going on YouTube?
Yes.
Thank you. So, when the corona family of viruses was discovered in 1960 itself, so absolutely it's not something very new. And you look at right now, the virus which we deal with is called as SARS-CoV-2. And before that, we had SARS-CoV in 2002, which was again a pandemic, and which showed after 10 years of time there was again something called as MERS-CoV, which belongs to the same family, which is based on Middle East. It was origin was Saudi, and then now we have something in 2019 from China, the SARS-CoV-2. The origin of the infection was from China, and that spread throughout the world. So understanding SARS-CoV-2 is something which is we are trying to do now. So these are the basic classification of the viruses. It belongs to a family called Nidovirales. Coronaviridae were in the order of Nidovirales, and subfamily of Orthocoronavirinae. And its actual size ranges between 60 nanometer to 140 nanometer, and of course an average of around 125 nanometer. So just imagine the size of this virus, which has completely shook the whole world right now. And of course, you all might have seen the virus's photographs, at least its depictions. In many ways, it has a spherical shape. It has like an spiky appearance throughout the uh, spherical shape. So that's why it's called club shape with spikes and surface of like when you show sunrise, you always show spikes, and this is something like called as corona for the reason that. And of course, viruses, we know it's the simplest living organism which gets life only when they are in a host. Outside the host, it continues to be a non-living matter. Uh, Here, the viruses, we all know that it has a protein code out of it, and the DNA is inside the uh, protein code. And the same way in this also, it is there instead of DNA, the genetic material. This is an RNA virus, and the RNA virus is positive sensed. That means the positive sensed RNA to start its functioning to convert it into protein, it doesn't need an immediatory synthesis. So it can immediately synthesize the proteins. So in fact, the moment it gather entrance into the cell itself, it can start replicating its proteins. So that is why it's called as positive sense. And we all know DNA. One end we have 5' and the other end we have 3' most of the virulent proteins of this RNA is found closer to the 3' end of the genome. And also this coronavirus, basically we have categories like alpha, beta, gamma, and delta. I've tried to put as A, B, G, and D. And out of this, the beta one is something which is of animal origin. And SARS-CoV-2 is also a beta COVID virus. So coming into the structure of it, as I said, you can see in the image wherein it's a corona sunrise image kind of, wherein a spherical bowl kind of shape is there, wherein the protein membrane is having lipids also in it, and the major membrane glycoprotein is there, and the small envelope protein is there, then the nucleocapsid protein is there, and also the RNA. You can see the RNA as such there, and there is also an acetylase glycoprotein which actually helps in binding, basically when it gets binded, and the image courtesy is to New England Journal of Medicine. So we'll see as you saw in the image, there's a spike which is called as the S protein, and the membrane protein, the M protein, there's the envelope protein which is called as the E protein, and then the nucleocapsid protein, N protein, as the S protein or the spike, the protein on the spike, is which mediates the attachment of the virus to the host cell surface, which results in the fusion. And you already know the receptors in the body now as ACE2 receptors. So the fusion happens to the body on ACE2 receptors of the body, wherein the S spike protein helps the virus to get it attached to the host cell. Then we have M protein, which is an abundant protein compared to the other one, and that is what actually defines the shape of the organism, or which actually gives its shape. And then we have the E protein, wherein this is the smallest one among all the protein particles, and this participates in the viral assembly. It helps in once the replication happens. As you know, the replication happens in pieces, and it's just aggregated with the help of this E protein, and then it again gains the shape by the time it comes out of the cell. And the N protein, which you can see, probably I can, since the image is small, I can show it here. Yeah, the N proteins, which is there on the RNA itself is there, and this is something which basically helps the virus particle to get out of the cell and form its own structure. So these are the major proteins of the uh, virus, wherein the targets of drug discovery is also into. For example, especially the S protein. If we are able to target the S protein, it will be really beneficial in terms of its treatment strategy. So as I said, the replication of the whole thing starts the moment the virus comes in contact with the host cell. The host cell, it gets attached, and here when it is getting attached to something called as ACE2 receptor on our cells, which is abundant in the human lung cells, and also found in kidney, liver, and also on heart cells. These are the major organs. Of course, the entry of the virus is through the mouth or the nose, or through any droplet. It's basically a droplet infection which spreads through air because of the aerosols and other things. So once we catch a virus, it gets entry through the nose, and its easiest target is the lungs because of the abundance of the receptors in the lung cells. And the attachment of the virus to the host cell is initiated by the interaction between, as I said, the S protein and also the ACE2 receptor on our body. And once the virus get attached, it creates a small pore on our cell, and the viral cell membrane gets merged to the cell membrane of the organism itself. I mean, the host itself, that is our cell itself, and the genetic material is released inside of the host cell. This genetic material released by virus uses the necessary enzymes which it requires for replication from our own cell. The host cell provides the necessary uh, enzymes and systems for it to replicate. So the translation immediately happens. As I said, it's a positive sense uh, RNA, wherein it need not create an intermediate RNA in between, so that the protein synthesis can happen. So the protein synthesis can happen, and the assembly of viral replicase complex is also, as I said in the earlier slides, is actually mediated by those proteins. And once the virus is replicated inside the cells, the capsid formation, or the outer membrane formation, happens with the help of our own cell membrane. It's released and once it is out of the body, I mean out of the body in the sense out of the cell, a vesicle is there. The vesicle gets disassembled once it is released, and the new replicated virus is ready to infect another cell. So just one cell getting into one host cell creates multiple of copies of this viruses, which again is able to connect and copy to another multiple host cells. So though I took some time to explain it, this all happens just like this, and that's how the replication of the virus happens inside the lungs. So this is what I was showing. The attachment happens here, and the ACE2 receptor is there. The uncoating happens, wherein this is the positive sense RNA which is released, and from 5' to 3'N, the translation happens, and then again the required proteins, the S protein and its subsidiaries, and the E protein, M protein, or nucleotide protein, everything is synthesized, and again it gets assembled here with the help of googly bodies, as it gets into it with a vesicle, as exocytosis, it gets released. So even though the image actually shows only two of it, and actually it's multiple in number, increasing the pace at which actually the multiplication of the whole organism happen. So now we have a fair idea of what is the structure of it, and how it is basically getting attached to the cell. Then what does the host actually do? This is where the host response starts. The host in the sense our cells start responding, our body starts responding. So as Dr. Somit was trying to explain in the earlier presentation, wherein the immune cells starts acting, we have two kind of immune systems. One is the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system. The innate immune system is something which gets response, or it's something which responds first, obviously, for any infection, especially for a viral infection. The moment the innate immunity start responding, um the cells and other aspects which is related to the innate immunity start releasing those interleukin and other aspects. This is where we have a tricky situation. Uh, the body has to pass from the innate immunity to the adaptive immunity as fast as possible. That is where the success of the host actually lies, or that is where the moment it gets into the adaptive immunity, we are able to survive. So, whenever there is a delay on this passage from innate immunity to the adaptive immunity, is when the cytokine storm happens, which is basically the real reason for all the complications that we see associated with the COVID 19 infection. So, all the way we were talking about SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes the COVID 19 infection, just like how HIV causes AIDS, SARS-CoV-2 causes COVID 19, and which is more associated as a lung infection. This is where the reason is when the innate immunity is at the top, the release of interleukins, especially interleukin 6 and plus ferritin, is seen, which actually increases the inflammation. The more the inflammation in the lungs, it will be difficult to breathe, and that's how we reach into a situation called as a pneumonia, and that's how pneumonia is manifested. It's all because the virus gets entry into the lungs, and the host cell starts inducing the immune response. And the longer we keep the innate immunity, or the body is not able to adapt and produce the adaptive immunity and release its uh, antibodies, uh, there uh, lies the problem. All the complications happens at that time. So, as Somit sir was trying to explain in the uh, how Ayurvedic intervention health is basically shortening this period of passing the innate immunity to adaptive immunity, is what in the integrative clinical trial held by AVP Research Foundation, the leadership of Krishnakumar ji and Somit sir, and Stanley Medical College in Chennai. The all the results suggest that this maturation of our immune response from something called as innate immunity to adaptive immunity was made faster because of the Ayurvedic intervention. So that is how, as I come back to the structure, hope it is clear how the virus physiology and the virus structure is very, very, very simple, and there is nothing much complicated to talk about it. And this is where such a small thing with such a simple living organism is basically brought the whole world into knees now. And this is something wherein and medical system can Ayurveda and can help. And this Ayurveda Day, I presume world would turn more and more towards Ayurveda and understand this capability of Ayurveda to combat such infections, like our Pirag sir said, let the future to deal such pandemics or anything be an integrated medicine. If there is some questions, yes, I'm open to it. If there is time, Dr. Pooja, do we have time?
ஆயுர்வேதா டே அப்படின்ட்டு எனக்கு ஒருத்தர் அமுச்சு விட்டுருக்காரு.
Yes. Yes, tell me.
Yeah, unmute பண்ணி கேள்வி கேட்கணும்.
Please unmute yourself and speak.
Anybody, if you have some query, you can either write in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask.
So, if there are no questions, thank you all. Pooja will take you to the next session.
Thank you all, and I'd like to thank Sujit sir for taking us all through this physiology of the coronavirus. Many of us would have gained new insights on how the process occurs inside the body. Before I invite the next speaker, I will just take 1 minute to set up the presentation.
In the meantime, before things get set up, I would also like to share that we have another event starting in another 2 hours. That is a month-long Ayurveda festival on different weekends. You can kindly visit the link which we have shared, Guyana, or can share also with the participants from Slovenia. Gizam can share in the Istanbul group. So please be also part of, it's kind of, today we are just starting the whole Ayurveda festival, but it continues the whole month, every weekend. Yes, over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, sir. So next I would like to invite Dr. Chaitanya, Research Associate with the AVP Research Foundation, to share with you the diet and lifestyle modifications to prevent and treat COVID-19. So I welcome her. Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you everyone for being here. Good afternoon, all. Shri Guru Pyo Namah. It's such a privilege to be talking on World Ayurveda Day, and the topic being COVID-19, it makes it relevant to the current times. The first session was taken by Dr. Sumit, introducing you to the clinical trial that happened in Chennai, and also the management part of the whole COVID-19 was detailedly discussed, and Sujitsa introduced you to the coronavirus. And now that you have known all that background thing, uh, the diet and lifestyle modifications to prevent and COVID-19 makes it little more relevant to make yourself away from the COVID-19 infection. And if you are infected, what else can be done? So going to the presentation. Let's quickly see where does COVID-19 stand as of now. This is from the dashboard of WHO. The total cases as of now today, it is 52.6 million, and a hike of 490K, that is 490,000 cases was reported only yesterday, and the recovered number is has the number of recovered cases is 34.1 million, and the number of death the worldwide is 1.29 million, and only yesterday it had the hike of 8,570, definitely a saddening number. So this is why this year's Ayurveda Day has the theme as Ayurveda for COVID-19 and makes it very relevant. And the contents that I'll be sharing through the slides is that the preventive aspect in which all the charyas that has been explained in Ayurveda will be dealt, and the treatment aspect in which the diet and lifestyle modification and also the comorbidities in COVID-19, how important it is in the while managing the COVID-19. So the first thing is the diet and lifestyle put together in Ayurveda comes in the term charya. Charya means achara, that a person needs to follow on a daily basis. That is known as acharam. Also, dinacharya means the acharas or the the routines of a day is known as dinacharya. So the acharyas were very keen enough to let us know what has to be a day in your life if you need a healthy lifestyle. That was very clearly and properly written in the Samhitas. And if you see all the textbooks, especially the Brihatrayas, all the three textbooks had Dinacharya as one chapter. That too in the initial chapters, which gives us an idea how important Dinacharya is to maintain a healthy lifestyles. So the Dinacharya and also the Dinacharya when it comes to so the Dinacharya in Shushruta Samhita, it has been explained in the chapter Anaghata Bhada Pradisheda, which literally gives the meaning all the possible measures to prevent the illness. So this particular chapter name itself gives us an idea. This is all the possible measures has been included on a daily basis in the dinacharya to prevent yourself from the illness. So in the dinacharya, so the charyas, what are all charyas has been explained in the textbooks include dinacharya, that is a day. Ritucharya, how do you adopt yourself to the changing ritus? That is the next charya, and the ratri charya, how should your sleep be? How should you be sleeping? That is the ratri charya, and this goes to the swastha, that is when a person is healthy. How should you be indulging in a day? Adopt yourself to the ritu, and also the sleeping patterns is all put together into dinacharya, ritucharya, and ratricharya. And and the other things for a healthy lifestyle include patya, which is goes with the disease specificity, and ahara and vihara is also being explained with the disease specificity, and also anupanam, which is given for both swastha and also for the rogi, and also in the every disease perspective has been explained separately. So this is all the context or the plots in which the advisors for a healthy lifestyle will be seen in the whole textbooks. So Dinacharya, putting all together, you get all these subtopics as the first thing being Brahmi Muhurte Jagaram, that is when should you wake up. Malotsarga Vidhi, that is the bowel moment. Dantadavana, Jihva Nirlekana, why it has been given here is because the oral route being very important for spreading the infection here. So the importance of that. Anjana, that is collyrium, Nasyam, that is the nasal droplets, Kavala, and Gandusha, that is oil pulling, that is a term that is used in the modern terminologies. Dhumapana, Abhyanga, Vyayama, Udvartana, Snana, and Bhojanam. These are all the topics that has been given in the Dinacharya, which will be seen individually in the subsequent slides. Among this, the most important or the one which will be stressed is the Brahma Muhurte Jagaram, that is when should you wake up and why should you wake up then. And Nasim, Dandadavana, Kavala Gandusha, because the oral and the nasal route is the pathway for the COVID-19 for coronavirus to enter the body. And also Abhyanga and Vyayama because of the lockdown and because everybody is at home, the sedentary lifestyle has increased. So these are all the important ones at this scenario to be stressed during this lockdown. So the first one being the Brahmi Muhurta, that is the when should you wake up? That is the intermittent duration between the respiration and the photosynthesis in the plant kingdom. That is a time where there is a shift in at this particular point. There is an abundance of oxygen which easily mixes with the hemoglobin, forming oxyhemoglobin. So the combination of the oxygen with the hemoglobin happens at the maximum at this point of time, that is 45 minutes before the sunrise, which boosts the immune system because more the oxygen, more the oxyhemoglobin combination, more will be the strength to the immune system. As oxygen deficient bodies are highly prone to the disease, waking up at this point of time will be beneficial. So, though it is a lockdown, make it a point that you wake up early in the morning and you get the best of the immune system booster. And next is the oral hygiene. The oral hygiene, why important? Because the mouth, that is the prime route through which the COVID-19 or the coronavirus may enter the body. So the poor oral hygiene be considered as a risk factor for COVID-19 complications, especially in the patients with diabetes, hypertension, or cardiovascular disease. This is the words taken from one of the publications. Thus, Acharyas have recommended the rasas, which is Katu, Tikta, and Kashaya, that is astringent and Katu, Tikta, and Kashaya rasa, which cleanse and maintains the oral hygiene. So these three rasas mainly does the job of cleansing and maintaining the hygiene of the oral cavity, also the gums and the teeth, and also makes it also helps from the COVID-19 or the coronavirus to it makes it the oral cavity it makes the oral cavity strong enough to fight the coronavirus. Now the Nasyam, that is the next one. I've skipped Anjanam because that does not hold so much of importance on this COVID-19 pandemic. So the Nasyam is also known as the nasal instillation, where like you instill 2 drops of oil or anything through the nostrils, 2 drops into each nostril. That is known as Nasyam, that is nasal droplets. Since the pathway of the disease is the upper respiratory tract, Nasyam can be beneficial to combat the disease and to keep the channel clear for breathing. So it is very important that the nasal cavities are clean, does not clog. There is no clogging of the impurities, and the whole upper respiratory tract is kept clean and clear of all the clogging and impurities, so that the virus can, the immune system can fight the coronavirus right at the entry point. Nasyam or nasal droplets can take away all the clogged impurities in the upper respiratory tract, keeping it clean and efficient to combat the infection. So, what can be used? The Anutailam or drops of coconut oil can be used, which is like drops in each nostrils for every day, twice daily, can be used for all the people. If you have any other complications like sinusitis or any other complications of the upper respiratory tract, please to consult any of the Ayurvedic physicians to get the prescription. But if you're healthy enough, these two medicines can be considered as a nasal droplets on daily basis, which will help the to clear the upper respiratory tract and keep them intact. Now, Kavalam and Gandusha. Uh, Filling the mouth with some fluid and retaining for some time is called as Gandusha or oil pulling. So, this is also advised by the Indian government. This has been given as one step, the healthy lifestyle to combat the COVID-19 coronavirus. The Kavala or Gandusha is holding the some fluid in your mouth for some time, or like I have mentioned, taking 1 teaspoon of sesame or coconut oil in the mouth. Do not drink it, but swish it in the mouth for 2 to 3 minutes and spit it off, followed by warm water rinse. This can be done once or twice a day, or after the meal or early morning after brushing can be the ideal time to practice Kabbalah and Kandusha. This enhances the senses, maintains clarity, brings about a feeling of freshness, and is an excellent way to maintain the oral hygiene. Why this Nasyam, Dandadavanam, Kavalam, and Gandusham is again because the main route of entry of the coronavirus is the mouth, nose, etc. So this can also be included in the daily routine for yourself to make yourself stay healthy. And next is Abhyangam and Vyayama. So again, from one of the publication which was published very recently, gives us the data that during the lockdown, trends for unfavorable nutritional behaviors were observed, quite natural, and weight gain for 35% of the population, that is a minimum of 1.8 kg on average put on of weight was observed, and decreased physical activity, which is 53% of decreased physical activity was observed, which is due to increased sedentary time, that is 63% of the sedentary time is increased, that is more than half of your day sedentary time has been increased. Increased snacking, decreased consumption of fresh food products, especially fruit and fish. Increased consumption of sweets, biscuits, and cakes was observed in a population during this lockdown. This was a cross-sectional survey which gave us this data. So this shows a complete twist in the daily routine that all the people had. So more than 53% of decreased physical activity is seen. This gives us the relevance of the importance of Abhyangam and Vyayama. Abhyanga is an oil massage and Vyayama is the exercise. So this is very important because the data shows there is a 63% increase in the sedentary time as well. Thus, the relevance of Abhyangam and Vyayama is vital here, and Abhyangam should be done only half the strength of the self, because there is also the other at the other end it is also seen that the vyayama is done beyond the capacity, and it is done more than what is required. So it is always important to keep your track of how much of vyayama should be done. So the end point where you should stop the vyayama is when the half of the strength of the self is touched. That is when you see the sweating in the nose, the forehead, and the sternum. When you see the sprouts of sweat in these areas, you should understand you have reached the half the strength of yourself. That is the time you should stop the vyayama. Now, discussing the importance of Abhyangam and Vyayama. So, concising the whole thing, you should wake up early in the morning to have the enough of oxygen. Then the Dandatavana, that is the oral hygiene, followed by the nasal droplets, which is also followed by the holding up of oil or water or sesame oil on your mouth, which is called as oil pulling, and followed by Abhyanga and Vyayama gives the best start of the day anyways. Now the dietary changes. So dietary changes are something which I'm sure it is very important during the lockdown, because everybody is at home and everybody tries new recipes, and there is a lot of snacking that happens. So what can be the dietary changes that can be included during this lockdown time? So what is suggested is simple cooking with minimum ingredients and maximum nutrition. That is a whole agenda. That is a whole slogan in which the dieting should be planned, and there should be a 12 to 16 hours gap between the dinner and breakfast, because this optimizes the recovery, cleansing, and that in turn strengthens the immunity. You need to give that break of 16 to 12 to 16 hours for your system to regenerate, optimize, and cleanse the whole thing. And one can use herbs and spices that are rich in antimicrobial properties, for example, garlic, ginger, mint, and peanut. While saying this, let me also say that there is always an upper limit which you have to keep when using all these spices. When you say the ginger is important, it doesn't mean you can use ginger in anything and everything, because I've also seen the people being obsessed because ginger is good for coronavirus, you use ginger for all the things. So it doesn't happen. There is an upper limit how you have to use. If you have any symptom of gastritis or something, always be conscious of using all the spices on an upper limit. If not, if you have any symptoms of overusing or burning sensation, please consult an Ayurvedic physician to give you the right amount of usage of all the spices. But on a general note, these spices are the best antimicrobial, has the best antimicrobial properties and can be included in the diet. Drink enough of liquids that include coconut water, buttermilk, turmeric water, lemon water, etc. But this doesn't mean early morning you wake up and take a gulp of you gulp in a lot of water. This is not advised because taking a lot of water early morning may suppress the digestive power of the may suppress the digestive enzymes and power of your cell. So it is not that, but always include coconut water, buttermilk, turmeric water, lemon water, etc. And again, being said that the turmeric water, there is an upper limit to use the turmeric. The maximum amount of turmeric that you can use in a day is 500 milligrams to 1000 milligrams. So beyond that, on a daily basis for a longer period, that can tax the kidneys. So always know the upper limit in which all the spices can be used. Prefer and include easily digestible food because there is a less of physical activity. You are at home, you are working from home, there is no much of physical activity which is needed. So always have prefer easily digestible food and less of calories. Next, proper diet care helps to improve immunity, due to which everyone will be able to fight against the virus and enhance the quality of life. Now, ensure consumption of food that build immunity. So possible foods that can boost the immune system, as I've pulled out a pulled a few of the food that can be included, which uh, have the influence to the immune system, that is like dark green leafy vegetables, fenugreek leaves, spinach, etc., which we all know, we study right from the school days. So next, the vitamin C rich foods like lemon, amaranth leaves, orange, melon, gooseberries, all the sour tasting fruits and berries is rich in vitamin C, which we all know. And yellow orange fruits, vegetables, carrots, papaya, mango is also rich in all the vitamin C. Nuts like almonds, walnuts, coconut, which is dry, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, and mustard seeds can also be included in the diet. And milk and milk products. Having said that, take less of milk and milk products because it is extremely nourishing. Have the time fixed when to take the milk. So the ideal time of taking milk is early morning, empty stomach, because that is milk is known as the Atyanta Rasayanam. So the right time of taking the Rasayanam is early morning. But it is always unique to yourself. It depends upon the body constitution and etc. But to give a default time, it is always the early morning and empty stomach. Have enough of milk and milk products, but make sure that you don't overuse as well. Herbs and spices and condiments like garlic, ginger, black pepper, turmeric, cloves, basil, and tulsi is a known antimicrobial products that can be used in the daily diets. Now, the importance of sleep. So importance of sleep is, a good night's sleep is incredibly vital, we all know, because a lack of sleep makes the next day dull, which we all agree and we all know. So in case of COVID-19 also, a good night's sleep is very important for your immune system to fight all the virus if it does enter. And that is the time when the whole body sleeps and the immune system fights back to all the uh, 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 organisms. So people are now sleeping less and they did it in the past, and sleep quality has decreased as well. This is also taken from one of the publications, and from one of the recent publications, which says that there is an increased screen time or working time. So poor sleep is linked to higher body weight, have a greater risk of heart disease and stroke. Why the body weight is important here is because obesity is one of the comorbidity which gives a higher risk to the COVID-19 patients. So poor sleep means there is a higher body weight, there is an increased tendency for a higher body weight. And good sleepers tend to eat fewer calories, affects glucose metabolism and type 2 diabetic risk. So good sleep improves your immune functions also. So a good sleep at night is very important when it comes to the when it comes to the best working of your immune system. At the same time, day sleeping should be avoided if than for the summer season. So a sleep is as important as any other regime that you follow in your day. Now, the Ritucharya. Why the Ritucharya is important is because we have seen how a day has to be spent, and now why Ritu? Because uh, your body also accustoms itself to the changing climatic conditions. So what it happens in the gross level, it also happens inside your body. So it is also important to equip yourself to combat and fit into the climatic changes that happens around. And one of the observations that we have in the COVID-19 is that during the month of April and May, the majority of the symptoms of the COVID-19 was fever. So fever used to be the main symptom that all the patients used to manifest. When it came to the month of like June, July, what happens was the severity of the fever or the number of days the fever persisted, it was less. So the patient started presenting only 1 or 2 days of fever, and now it is just an evening of fever, and the other symptoms like anosmia and anorexia started being predominant. So it gives us an idea there is also a changing symptoms and presentations in the COVID-19 uh, through this ritu. So this is why ritucharya is also important when it comes to the perspective of COVID-19. So in Ayurveda, we have the six seasons in a year, that is Shishira, Vasanta, Grishma, Varsha, Sharat and Hemanta. And the consecutive months has been given in the next adjacent to it, that is like mid Jan to mid March is Shishira, which is like cold and dew season, and Vasanta is the spring, wherein like it is from mid March to mid May. Grishma is summer, mid May to mid July, and Varsha is rainy, mid July to mid September. Sharat is autumn, mid September to mid November, and Hemanta it is winter, mid November to mid Jan. So this is how the seasons has been placed in a year. So why this is important is because in this whole course of six ritus, body also undergoes a cycle of changes in the strength bala and also the agni, that is the digestive capacity. So you see in the seasons like Grishma and Varsha, the strength or the bala or the immune capacity or the strength of the body is the lowest, or avara is the least, and it is moderate during the months of during the ritus like Vasanta and Sharat, and during the seasons like Shishira and Hemanta, the strength of the or the capacity of the immune system or strength of the body as such is the best. So this is the checkpoint in which you have to decide how much should be your physical activity, how should be your food you choose to eat, and how should be your sleep, and how should you manage your day. So this is how you have to accustom yourself during that 360 days, that is like six ritus. Taking one point from all the ritus, Varsha prevent amla and contaminated water, because that is a rainy season. There is a contamination all over, and there is a less of immunity, and strength is also less. During the Sharad, beware of the strong sun. Pitta Shamaka Ahara Vihara should be incorporated during your daily routine. And Hemanta, eat well at will, because that means eat only when you feel like, but eat well. And no day sleep should be done during this season. And Shishira, during the Shishira Ritu also, please follow the same as like the Hemanta Ritu, wherein like you eat well, but only when you feel like, only when when the hunger is at its best. And the Vasanta Ritu, the Vamana is that the procedure, 195 procedure, which is advised. And because the Kapha Prakopa will be there, Vamana is the best treatment modality which can be advised. And also use honey, because it is Chedaniya, it is carminative, which will help to keep the accumulation of Kapha at a check. Now, Grishma, the summer season, wherein like sleep, the only Ritu wherein Acharya says you can have a day's sleep is during the Grishma Ritu, and accumulation of water has to be taken care, and use Sattu and Sarbat. That take enough of liquids, keep hydrating yourself during the season of Grishma, and always make sure that you sleep well, and if needed, take a nap during the day. So this is how the Ritu has been taken, and this has to be kept in mind. The strength is not only of the body but also of the digestive system. So make sure this is the base on which the food, the routine, the physical activity, the sleep is decided, and you follow the whole thing during the 6 ritus. Now, the diet and lifestyle during the management aspect. So once you've got COVID-19, uh, if the diet and lifestyle depends upon what are all the symptoms that you have. If you're asymptomatic in nature, you can have maintain all the healthy diet and lifestyle things that we've discussed till now, because that is all the dinacharya and the ritucharya according to the season which we have inflicted with the COVID-19 has to be maintained, because the symptoms are not there, so there is nothing as such to be targeted. But make sure you take less of food and regimens which accumulate inflammations in the body. Otherwise, all the dinacharya can be adopted by the patient himself. Now, if the patient is symptomatic, according to the symptoms should be the diet and lifestyle decided. So, following the light and easily digestible food is something that can be advised to all the patients, be it asymptomatic or asymptomatic. So, the symptoms, if the patient presents with anorexia, that is like loss of appetite, make sure that you eat only less, eat only when you feel hungry, and eat only what is easily digestible, because the symptom that the patient presents is anorexia, that is a loss of appetite. So it is not good to pump in a lot of calories inside your body, because the body finds it difficult to digest and combat the COVID-19. Now, if it is the other symptoms like anosmia, Nasyam is one of the best therapy which can be used. We have also cases wherein like we used nasal instillation, a, a, a medication which was uh, prepared only for COVID-19 from the Apinasa Adhikarana. So that particular nasal instillation was capable enough to cure the anosmia within 4 to 5 days. And we have seen, if the nasal, on the other side, if nothing of that sort has been given, it may take as long as 1 to 1.5 months for the anosmia to cure. So it is always good that you take nasal instillation when the symptoms is like anosmia. And if the symptoms are like tiredness and swelling of any of the other symptoms which is specific to the person, please make sure you consult an Ayurvedic physician and get a unique personalized prescription for yourself. Now, the comorbidities in COVID-19. According to BMC survey, hypertension and diabetes are the two main comorbidities in coronavirus related deaths in Mumbai. The two comorbidities comprises of 55 percentage of the total COVID deaths, which gives us the idea the diabetes and hypertension as the comorbidity in the COVID-19 infected patients, the possibility of them being onto the severe category is more. So here, when the comorbidities are there, the diet and lifestyle should absolutely be in connection with the comorbidity that the patient have. So mild physical activities can be advised to the patient, to all the patients with any comorbidities. Make sure that there is at least mild physical activities for all the patients with whatever be the comorbidity, and mild breathing exercises can also be advised, and also comorbid specific diet. So if it is a diabetic patient, make sure you follow all the diabetic diet that the physician has prescribed to you, and if it is hypertension, make sure that you have less of spices, salt, and etc., so that the hypertension is also kept uh, within the normal limits. So if it is a comorbidities, the diet and lifestyle should be according to the comorbid the patient presents, and it on the other side, the symptoms what the patient presents should be taken in account when prescribing any of the diet and lifestyle modification. And if the patient is absolutely asymptomatic, all the dinacharya and ritucharya can be one of the best thing to combat the COVID-19 as such. So this is the whole thing. But apart from this, to talk about the lifestyle and the diet, eat less, eat only when you feel hungry, uh, keep hydrating yourself, sleep well, less of screen time, stay at home, uh, keep the social distance, and wear mask, always wash your hands. This is the whole slogan in which the COVID-19 can be kept far. So this is all about the diet and lifestyle modification that has to be taken that has to be followed, and that is all the presentation. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for that patient listening. Thank you, Dr. Chaitanya, for giving us those valuable practical tips on diet and lifestyle. And the
We are open to take some questions, Pooja, I think.
yes, sir.
General, any queries regarding COVID management? So we have in discussion, we have Martha has asked specific what can be done for in the recovery phase. So Martha, I don't know if you are in Slovenia and if the gooseberry or Indian gooseberry is available, you can even for that matter, you can have. See, inula is very well available in Europe now as a tea. Inula root tea. As I was telling you, in our study we have used Inula restimosa, but in Europe, one other variety of Inula, which is again utilized for same breathlessness and cardioprotective and toning up your lungs. It has been used. So that tea can be used. Urtica dioica, that is nettle. Nettle would purify your liver, improve your quality of the blood. That also need to be taken as one of them. And if you can get polygonatum root. Now, polygonatum, I will try to share with you I don't know in Slovenia what you call, but in Latvia we say mugurane, something. Cynthia need to correct me in how we pronounce in Latvian language. It is Polygonatum verticillatum. So now this root is also available in its Latvian food culture. I have seen in Europe as well as in Slovenia, you get this Polygonatum verticillatum. Now, the root of this is an excellent anti-aging herb, which you can also use as for recovery phase. The root part has to be used. So, apart from that, Dr. Chaitanya has told you a host of diet, spices, things. Eat less, it's very important. Don't eat milk products immediately after the recovery, that is very important. Avoid mushrooms, definitely, because it creates a host autoimmune response, because mushroom tends to be a little immune kind of a sensitive. So I think avoid mushrooms. Milk products, yogurt, definitely not. Please don't eat cheese, hard cheese only. As less like white bread and all. So if it is all these things, if you are doing for what we have from our clinical kind of experience which we are getting, even up to 3 months post becoming viral negative, we have seen people still coming out with the symptoms of breathlessness if they were not on Ayurvedic medicine. So right now we are running a COVID clinic, post-COVID recovery clinics and all. So we are finding out people on remdesivir and other things still having these symptoms of tiredness and breathlessness. But as well as in the Ayurvedic group, where we have documented and studied, that is because we have done in a very selected stage-wise that thing, our patients during discharge within 15 days had less of symptoms of fatigue and this. So I think follow this diet and lifestyle; it will help you definitely. If anybody want a very detailed, individualized therapy, I have shared a link, which is the link for our COVID Research Clinic in ABP Research Foundation. You can book an appointment, and then definitely we can help you out and customize. Because for that we need your data, very important data, because we can't just generalize in a public forum, like in a platform to say general, advice. It has to be individualized. Yeah. Any other queries?
So in the chat box, Alexandra has asked, can you please write the names of medicines that is available in Europe?
Yeah, I think Andrographis, in the acute fever stage, Andrographis is available in Europe. A very good herb for acute phase when you have early stage, you have feverish sensation. Andrographis and dry ginger. Basil, again, is good for coughing, dry cough. These are good options in Europe. Mild, again, you have to be very clear if they have no comorbidity, if they are not very like diabetes, very obese and all, where they are mild symptomatic, you can give these herbs as when they are in home quarantine. Home quarantine, you can use this, but then if they are like diabetic, very high risk group, there I think they should be. You should be a consultant as a dietitian or a health advisor, and then along with their modern medicine therapy, you should just integrate. So these are very important. Dry ginger has a very good evidence base also. Then you have this Nigeria sativa. Nigeria sativa is black cumin. Again, that is a very good evidence-based herb which has been found to stop the replication of coronavirus. It's a spice. You can take up to half teaspoon, that is around 2 grams of Nigeria sativa in one dose twice daily. Again, it is very good for gastrointestinal symptoms and also anti-coronavirus herb. Again, one more very evidence-based herb is called as licorice. But yes, licorice, Glyresia licorice, uh, very good for gargling. We were using in our research for gargling to stop the replication. It has been studied in the last version of COVID virus. It was able to stop the replication of coronavirus. So when you get positive and you don't want to get, so that coronavirus does not go deep into your lung tree. So if very early stage you are just symptom has not started, the swab just become positive after a contact you had. So this gargling, or even for prevention, the best thing is for prevention, please do a licorice gargling. So that there is, even if you are exposed, there is a chance that may not go into the lungs and you may not have the severe form of infection. So gargling with licorice tea is a very important thing. People who are not hypertensive can also take licorice, mint, ginger tea. Licorice, mint, and ginger tea. Then inhalation. There are very good evidence that there are essential oils like citrus essential oil, mint essential oil, and lemon essential oil. If you properly take 2 drops each of these in hot water and then inhale, you do inhalation, it also helps to prevent you from getting this kind of. So these are some things which you can do in your Western setup. We make oils out of these herbs and then give nasal insufflation, but you don't have to use essential oil directly into nose. Very specifically, please no. But you can do inhalation in the office in hot water. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And Cynthia has also asked that more typical European food, which is Satmia for Europe, if you could advise, that would be useful for all.
Yeah. So very important is buckwheat is a very good post-COVID uh, uh, kind of grain. It's very important with some amount of kind of right now it's end of the autumn almost. We are end of the autumn, so you have still zucchini, pumpkin coming up. So this kind of food, uh, and also spices like cumin, your European variety of cumin. You have dry ginger or ginger. Then you have cinnamon, uh, and cheese. If you are taking hard cheese, as I told you already, Parmigiano or cheddar, don't take soft cheeses at all, because right now it will be too heavy for your system to withstand. In proteins, apart from that, you can have small beans, not peas. Uh, Avoid peas because it will aggravate vata, because by nature the COVID virus shows vata and kapha imbalance. So try to avoid any food which increases vata and kapha. So you have a better metabolism. So see that uh, take beans which are local in nature and small beans. See in Slovenia or in Latvia or in you get smaller beans, not the big beans which are dark brown beans. That is not good. You say take more light color, smaller beans. That would be better, or lentils. Lentils, it can be green lentils, it can be red lentil. Both are best for such situation for your supply of proteins. Uh, if you are a non-vegetarian person, please avoid all seafood right now, because seafood is again kleda. I was telling you, it creates a lot of inflammation. So seafood as less as possible. Uh, Sea salt, totally try to avoid. If you can take Himalayan salt, it's the best. And if you want to at all, I would say if you can avoid kind of meat is best. Otherwise, if you want, then the goat's meat, like goat's meat or kind of hunted meat, wild hunted meat is better.
Thank you, sir. Hope it was informative and practically useful for all. Okay. So the sub question by Alexandra to the medicines he just mentioned in Europe. Can you
Please also specify the medicine to take in advanced phase of available. See, advanced phase, as I told you, that it has to be well in coordination with your doctors out there. If they are open, as I told you, andrographis runs through both the early and advanced phase with inula and ginger. These three herbs are which are allowed in Europe, as well as you can practice in Europe. Why? Because seems to be very interesting to see that ginger, there is a lot of clinical research also done that it helps in acute respiratory distress syndrome. That means one of the main complication of COVID. There is a clinical study. In fact, if you go to AVPARF research, like our YouTube channel, we have discussed a lot of on diet and lifestyle thing. There we have shared a lot of information about the kind of importance of ginger. Yes, again, as Dr. Chaitanya has shared with you, be reasonable with use of ginger and dry ginger. If you have some kind of heat in your system or acidity develops, or then you need to supplement with add either coriander to it or a little bit of mint to it. Uh, we need to balance that heat.
Thank you, sir. Don't have any other questions on the chat box. If anybody has any other queries, you can please post or ask them.
Yeah, we have only 5 minutes.
Yes.
Is it up to 4? Or think?
Yes.
What we have announced?
We have announced till 4:30, sir.
Okay, fine. Then we still have some. Okay. You have some So advanced thing, as I told you, you have to be very careful. In India, we have all the legal permissions to use this medicine, and we have so in um, if they are non-risky group and all in kind of in India, people are using very much. And if it is a high risk group, we treat them along with allopathic doctors in the hospital. In Europe, I would rather suggest that be in touch with your healthcare provider and then follow these advices, which has a lot of evidence behind. And yeah, Europe, one more thing post COVID, one more herb is ashwagandha is very well available. So yes, post viral headache, post viral symptoms with neurological symptoms, anxiety, we see a lot of confusion, uh, loss of strength on all this. Ashwagandha will help. So ashwagandha is also available in Europe.
So any other queries, any other clarifications? We are open.
Yeah, you can also ask it from your, if you can speak in English. Good. So I think what we do is please do join us in the 6 o'clock. We have a marathon today. Morning onwards, we have different programs. But the thing is, uh, yeah, it would be an insightful journey to know how many people are now getting, you know, uh, associated with Ayurveda movement worldwide. It would be a really intellectual journey. You can also join our evening session from 6 o'clock, and we can listen to representatives of many country to start with, and also Bojana will represent Slovenia in coming sessions. So please keep in tune with the updates of what Bojana keeps on sharing with you, and keep on being part of our intellectual fest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I think before we finally close, there's another question that has come. Can we use some herbal baths? Would it help?
Or fasting. Yeah, fasting definitely help is intermittent fasting, as we all know. It enhances your innate immune response also. Please don't eat after 6 o'clock. This is one of the thumb rule. And do not eat protein and milk products in the night. The moment you do this, you are fasting anyhow 14 hours every day, because that your next day breakfast is at only 8 o'clock. So don't eat between evening 6 to next day morning 8 o'clock. Second important thing is herbal bath. Uh, you can in fact nettle in the European tradition. Nettle leaves were boiled and they were used for bathing. It's very good for it. It was a natural shampoo many a times. Or hibiscus. Hibiscus is also boiled and used as a bath. So I think more than bath, what will help you out is inhalation, as I have told you with those essential oils. Uh, that would be more kind of also, because we do hear Dhumapana, there is herbal smoke, but in your tradition, it is more inhalation is the more contemporary method to do that. So aromatherapy does have an effect. That way we integrate aromatherapy in Ayurveda.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying.
Sauna is good? No. Uh, uh, I would say that, see, especially first of all, this is an inflammatory process. And when there is an acute inflammation or you are recovering from that inflammation, already your body is having a component of pitta and heat. If you further give sauna, you would further add to the inflammation. So never in acute inflammatory condition we give sweda. So sauna has not to be given first. Once you are totally recovered from COVID with no symptoms, only in winter season. See, again, this is a misconception that sauna should be practiced every season. It is no. It was only a tradition in winter season when you don't sweat. It was a method to which we will teach you in our. You have just started our basic course, so we will tell you how what is the science behind sauna. Sauna was not practiced every now since it's become a part of wellness industry. We keep on doing sauna each season, and in fact, we keep on harming. Doing sauna in summer season is totally contraindicated. If you have a diabetes, totally contraindicated. If you have a skin disease, is totally contraindicated. So when I ask, my exact answer would be post COVID, please don't do sauna for at least 2 months till you regain your total balance. How many inhalations per day? Of course, it can be depending on, generally 2 times is advisable. But if you have like for example, people who had acute infection and we have been treating them, then nasya at least twice was given. So or inhalation can be several times if you have blocked nose. But 2 times minimum is good. Once in the morning, and then again, taking inhalation has to be properly done in a chronology. So please don't take bath immediately after inhalation because that will create a imbalance of the doshas. So whenever you are doing inhalation,